Hello and welcome to The Smartest Moron, where I'm greeting you from the wrong side of the screen because I'm too busy staring at my Shin Megami Tensei collection. I have them. I have all the games except for 5, and really these are just the original timelines. The rest are either downloaded or there's just not enough room to actually put them all up here, but I have them. I actually have them, and also these two are just reproduction cards with English translations, but I freaking have them! Just let me have this moment.
I honestly should have covered this years ago, since a lot of people really liked the video I made on it, even though that was for college. I was genuinely surprised by the attention it got. Bad I only got a lousy B on it. Yes, I am bitter. Given this was one of my favorite games of all time, I delayed reviewing this since I needed to look at other games and reevaluate what I find good and bad about some stories. To an extent, my thoughts have changed on a few games I actually liked back then, opening my eyes to new possibilities. And in other cases like The Third Birthday, a game I freaking hate, made me realize just how much worse some of these games were too. Sadly, I didn't want to do videos where I mindlessly fanboy over the games I loved, as I fear that would turn people away. This wasn't the only game though, given my delay on reviewing the DMC reboot, since I didn't want to just take the biggest crap on it just for the sake of hating it. But what is Nocturne? Well, it was a PS2 game that sadly fell into niche territory due to difficulty and likely dealing with multiple religions represented as demons the player can use. Granted, that's just a guess, mainly one formed by a friend, but most games that are popular usually don't deal with people taking on supposedly good gods, like Final Fantasy. Then, the story presents a unique approach to this game many don't use. By the time I bought the game, I had not experienced anything quite like it. I mean, technically I played Digital Devil Saga and Raiden Kuzunoha vs. the Soulless Army before this one, but those games were technically a bit more black and white. And keep in mind, I did not even play Shadow Hearts until I started this channel and reviewed it. I can think of a few reasons why Persona was popular, but maybe it just wasn't as dark as the old Shin Megami Tensei games. Cause honestly, waifus are the key to everyone's heart in some way. Damn you, Elfelt. I don't mean it. Unlike with other games making you set out to make sure the world isn't destroyed or taken over, Naoki, the name I'm using for the player character by the way, already has his world destroyed. But let's rewind a bit to understand how he got there. Naoki was just a high school student on his way to visit his teacher in the hospital alongside his friends, Chiaki and Isamu. Chiaki is more concerned about her future when visiting her though, while Isamu has kind of a thing about his teacher, sort of.
And relax, there's no romance with the teacher or anything. This isn't Persona 5. Or Persona 3 for that matter. Kinda, sorta. And for those that don't believe me, it exists. If you play the male story route and play this online game, the teacher is actually the avatar who kind of falls in love with the student character. Look it up.
But it turns out the teacher, Yuko Takao, wanted to lead the 3 students here to give them a fighting chance in the new world that is about to be born. There's a man named Hikawa she is helping, who has been hinted as someone involved in the occult, even summoning a demon that nearly kills the hero. She wants to create a world of freedom, though, yeah, I honestly don't think this guy is trustworthy, I'm just saying. Thus the world ends, Black Lightning killing many people in seconds, and Tokyo is soon made into a battleground for demons. Most of the population are rendered as souls that while can fight, are ineffective. The only ones that survive are those that took shelter within the hospital, due to some kind of barrier. Oh, and the reporter Hijiri for reasons we'll eventually get back to. In this world, known as the Vortex World, humans are the only ones capable of gathering enough of some kind of energy called Magatsui in order to reshape the world however they see fit, as well as summoning a sponsor to help with that. The sponsor usually being a giant demon that can kill you in one hit. Naturally, since they're freaking kids, they don't quite know what the hell to do. At least not until later. It kinda makes Chiaki's request from Yuko have a bit more foreshadowing now that I think about it. Naoki is picked up by a child and his nanny, and she explains how the kid wants to see how he will do in this world. Thus he has a bug called a Magatama go into his eye, turning him into a half-demon capable of bonding and controlling demons, as well as spite, so this ain't your ordinary Pokemon trainer. This is where I got a comment about the music and sound effects. No, there is no voice acting, barring some demon sounds and grunts, and then maybe they say a word or two, but the music easily picks up the slack, sometimes creating genuine dread. I think the demon transformation best exemplifies this. can easily feel the pain Naoki is going through in this scene, the terror of being powerless to stop the incoming transformation. Thankfully, he isn't left insane from the experience. Things are not made easy since, unlike in other games, you need to recruit demons to your cause. While Pixie is helpful and you can keep her around, and you should totally do that by the way, the only way to recruit demons is by conversing with them on the battlefield, or getting them to beg for their lives. Naturally, because these are freaking demons, the conversations can quickly go south, and sometimes even be inconsistent. If there's one thing I feel hasn't aged well, it's this mechanic. It does help show that not every demon is the same, showing some individuality between them though. Not the best justification for it, I know. When it comes to story, I realize there's definitely a lot of stuff dealing with the world in general. Learning how some demons are forming their own societies, or being used by the strongest, in this case being the mantra, demons who believe might makes right. The mannequins are the closest things we get to genuine humans, as they look like them and talk the most sensibly. They are also pitifully weak, barring two certain ones, one of whom is basically a psycho who skins his own kind. And even certain demons I discovered in the town the mannequins later form did just want a life of peace, it seems. Well, if they weren't ambushing me every 15 seconds, that is. Also, with the story, it does feel like going from one event to the other and just seeing things play out. There are goals, of course, but sometimes a boss fight just gets in the way, like trying to free Samu after he's captured by demons, and then you get events where it just feels like you just watch an event and that's pretty much it. For example, you witness your friend Chiaki transforming into a monstrosity, just to have her kick you out of a room and nothing else. I mean, I get why I had to go there. The story had stated she got into an encounter with Sakahagi and lost her arm, the crazy mannequin by the way. Even though demons help point that out, it'd be natural for Naoki to worry about her. But after that, nothing. Absolutely nothing. How the hell did I even get locked out of this place? Then we have a few extra additions to the game. Stuff you technically don't have to complete in order to actually beat the game, but it's fun doing so. One of them is the Kalpas, where this old man, who was also this little kid earlier, is tempting you to go into. This also deals with fighting off the fiends, like the unavoidable matador that just... oh boy, you sir make it hard to recommend to new people. Or you can even face off against Ghost Rider here, Grandpa abusing his bell, and even the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Hell, even Dante from Devil May Cry is a part of the action, hunting you down. But as you travel further within the Kalpa, one of the most useful things is information about the world itself. A few bits can be found in the main story, but the information is worth going through these annoying rail sections. Plus, it's absolutely necessary to get the true demon ending, but more on that when we get there. So while the story would likely mostly be trying to stop Hikawa, and it kinda is at times, your friends are also going insane from this madness. But let's start by analyzing this star douchebag, shall we? Hikawa, despite being the biggest threat, is not the absolute final boss, and is actually one of the first to fight Naoki in the final dungeon. There isn't too much to his personality, but there are little things you can read into. Given his involvement in using the cults, and keep in mind these cults also use demons to kill each other, he could have witnessed firsthand how corrupted humanity was. Not even just that, but possible wars happening within the game as well. He believes passion can be dangerous, blinding people. He's kinda proven right given what happens to Naoki's friends and how they lose their sanity. The only time he shows anger, as far as I can remember, is towards Naoki for constantly getting in his way. He believes logic should prevail, and how unified, people can achieve so much more. But without that kind of passion, individuality is gone, and people are just robots, surviving for the sake of surviving. I mean, this reason kinda has some positives to it, but speaking as someone who was once emotionally dead, I wouldn't want to live in a world like that again. Next is the teacher, Yugo Takao. One of the most important characters in the game, and to help further push Hikawa as a villain. But our main reason to be here is to provide Naoki hope. Like I said, every human requires a sponsor in order to help them create the new world. Someone to help crush the competition. Hers in this case is from another dimension, or something called Aradia. But what does she want exactly? Well, Yuko grew tired of the world as it was now, lacking passion and desire for change. So she went with Hikawa to create such a world, unaware of her being used for his own desire to create a world of stillness like he wants. Left with not much choice, she is left weak and confused, trying to find a way to create her own world of freedom. Although ironically, the world she was in before did have the freedom she sought.
You know, it's a shame YouTube didn't really catch on in this world. Otherwise, she'd probably have plenty of time to post about her passions online. Only to have them torn apart by trolls, the copyright system, YouTube itself. What I'm trying to say is that YouTube is a piece of shit.
But I do get what she means. A common fear is becoming too complacent and following the world like some kind of sheep. Allowing for horrible things to be common is another fear as well. It's kinda like what Persona 5 was preaching. Just most likely duller in this case, since I can't think of anything happening in this world. Although that's technically another bonus to this game. No rape or mentions of it. It's actually amusing how she talks about freedom considering how Naoki is expected to pick a side in this war of reasons. At first left with only 3 bad options and a reset button later. I mean, technically going neutral offers the most freedom since every choice leads to Naoki being forced to do something. Not knocking it of course, since neutral is my favorite route, but I want to touch more on the depression and how that directly connects her and Naoki. Depression is something nobody can just knock out of the park instantly and is gone forever. And if someone has done that, well, it doesn't work for everyone else. Even if your life is going well like hers, where she was a popular teacher and looked up to by her students, depression can often blind you to those things. Bringing up YouTube again, it's kind of like looking at a whole bunch of nice comments, only to focus on the negative stuff and trap yourself in that negativity, allowing it to make you feel like shit. Some people may be able to brush it off, but you have to understand that there are those that cannot and need that extra bit of distance. Otherwise, that toxicity consumes them. Now granted, we never get a reason as to why Yuko is depressed, but in her defense, sometimes you don't even need a reason to make you feel depressed. One day you could be happy, editing away freely, only to want to crawl into your bed and never come out the next day. And now we have Naoki, who will more than likely be distraught at losing everything he loves while in this world. So the idea of Lucifer constantly baiting him to be at his side becomes much easier to see as the best possible choice. Naoki and Yuko are linked together through this, when being used by people. But a difference can form as Naoki learns from Yuko's mistake and follows what he wants, at least in the neutral ending. By following Lucifer though, he's making the same dumb decision she did, and so history repeats and the end of the world happens all over again. Not to mention, both are pretty guideless, unable to think of a reason to counter everyone else. I mean, technically Naoki can form a reason on his own due to being half demon, but Yuko doesn't do much of a better job, relying on her sponsor Aradia to help guide her after Hikawa stabbed Yuko in the back for the sake of his own goal. But in the end, she realizes her one chance at freedom, she had it all along. This holds up the depression argument for not just Yuko and Naoki, but for everyone, by making sure some of these characters cannot think for themselves and making the worst possible decision. Isamu, for example, heard the voices of many souls that led him to create his own reason, even sacrificing someone, while Chiaki took the power of an evil tyrant and slew so many mannequins. And both did this during their lowest points, at their weakest. So everyone but Hikawa and Hijiri are suffering from some kind of depression in a way. Being unsure about the future and fearing about it can easily tie into depression, because you want anything that could possibly help. Now let's cut back to Naoki's friends. Chiaki is the friend of Naoki who has a wealthy lifestyle, and seems a bit judgmental as she doesn't hold a high opinion of her friends. Not completely irredeemably mean or anything since she does care for Naoki a bit, even the drama CD hinting at a relationship between them. Given her status, chances are she had a sense of comfort before the world was destroyed and is desperate to get that back. That's the best guess I can make for why she wants a world where only the strongest leads. Back in the real world, while directionless, she did have a degree of power to shape her life and have some comfort. At least more than her friends. Her weakness was only made more apparent when she loses her arm to Sakahagi and accepts the power of Gozu Tenno. At that point, her sanity basically snaps, and she is willing to kill just about anyone to make her reason possible. So a world where she can make herself the best seems like the best idea. Except now you are creating a world of perpetual fear of being killed, unable to trust anyone, for the moment you let your guard down, someone will bring that knife down to your throat. Moreover, there's another important reason this idea is very short-sighted and dumb.
Which is basically the same as the goddamn Vortex world!
This is already a chaotic world where might makes right, even if you have to be a bit clever about it, like how Ikawa created a machine to sap the mantra of all their energy. The difference might be is that you would have to be a bit more careful about those that follow you, likely to the point of being unable to trust anyone. And considering how Chiaki couldn't trust Naoki unless he joined her reason, the problems will only magnify, creating even more fear and paranoia for whoever manages to stay control as their life is now in jeopardy. And given how there's no real insight into this world beyond this ideal and a desert, and how a darkness is approaching Naoki in that ending, I assume he will get the shit kicked out of him, made only worse when he seems to lack his powers at the moment. Actually, it's a bit interesting to see that the angels are siding with Chiaki, as she is able to summon quite a few to help slaughter the innocent mannequins. This would be questionable until you think about a few things. One is thinking back to the Crusades done several hundred years ago, and I'm sorry for those that I have to remind you that Dante's Inferno exists. The video game, I mean. And not to mention religious nutballs still in the world willing to sacrifice people, either for power or for the sake of their lord. The second is that, well, the angels will likely think Chiaki would be the easiest to manipulate, since no other reason supports the laws they wish to enact, and Hikawa seems a bit too smart to be manipulated by them. If the angels are suddenly superior by, accidentally killing one person, well yeah, that's one way to rule over humanity, and they would be able to retain their sanity to work as a unified force.
But wait, I hear you say, What about asking Isamu? To which I can only respond with, Isamu's reason is also very stupid, so why the hell would you even bother with that?
Isamu's a hypocrite. That's really the biggest flaw in his reason. The reason called Musubi is all about isolation, how you can just create your world without the aid of others, so everyone can live in their own little bubble. The reason is that people don't really give a crap about him, and he doesn't care about them either. The best equivalent I can make is ignoring people who need help, like bums on the street or someone looking for cash using a fundraiser. The problem is that, well, he constantly needs help in order to make sure his reason is complete. Siding with him is also incredibly hypocritical considering, well, you need help. You wanna know why? You use demons. While it is possible to solo the game, very few people are gonna do that. And even if you argue that idea is perfectly valid for this reason, you also receive help from a pixie as you mutually help each other escape the damn hospital. Now I can understand why he did think this way, as Naoki doesn't really stick with him, and he always has to be saved by someone. And this contrasts his usual confidence, at least whenever he isn't scared. At the same time though, he is used to using people anyway, such as using Naoki's presence to help make sure he can get more positivity from his teacher. Combined with how he takes advantage of Naoki's nice nature by manipulating him into giving him more power, aka turning into a whale of some kind, he's another effective villain despite his hypocrisy, and more evidence for Naoki to be fed up with the world if he sides against his friend. And if you're wondering which one I support the most, I honestly can't decide. I don't support any of these endings at all due to the gigantic flaws they have, as well as their wielders. Isamu is hypocritical, Hikawa means losing your sense of self, and Chiaki is just the same as the current world, but everything will be on fire. Basically how Namek was turning out during the fight between Goku and Frieza. If the one representing the ideology has so many flaws, you're less likely to follow them.
You know, unless you worship an idiot of some kind, like this one. Yes, I know there's nothing there, but the thing is, I don't even have to reference anyone. You guys can fill in that void however you want.
Finally, there's Hijiri, the man who somehow survived the end of the world. In the previous world, he was a journalist you made dealing with the occult, but we never got more details beyond that. He's the only other character that helps out Naoki on a regular basis, helping him traverse the world through what I call the demon internet. Look, it even has trolls constantly trying to kill you. Unlike the others, he retains his sanity for the longest time, and feels like one of the closest thing Naoki has to a friend and partner when no one else will help him. However, even his sanity snaps, as he was planning on sacrificing Isamu or Naoki to accomplish whatever he pleases. At least until Isamu decides to use his plan against him. His role does help sell the idea that every human is corruptible, and it's a decent role overall. However, it turns out there's a bit more to him. Hijiri is actually the protagonist of the second game. The info revealed within the Kalpus, of course. If you were hoping I would talk more about the previous two games, I sadly do not have any knowledge on these titles, nor did I even finish the DLC for SMT4 Apocalypse. Mainly because I'm lazy. It's not really relevant anyway. The only thing you should know for now is that for trying to kill God, Hijiri was forced to endure seeing the end of the world over and over, yet could not do a thing to stop it, always failing in his struggle. It's meant to serve as a life lesson for Naoki, something Lucifer uses to persuade him, since if he goes against the Great Will, chances are he's going to be cursed like this too. Or something far worse might happen. It even serves as a point against the neutral ending considering what that entails. Not to mention the fact that Naoki is half demon and he got his power from Lucifer. That would raise a few eyebrows. Also, I may have killed Metatron, the voice of God, so I think that might have ticked him off a tad. Even without this revelation though, Hijiri's betrayal serves as more evidence for the whole humanity is garbage argument. So let's discuss my favorite ending, neutrality, or basically the reset button. Going back to Aradia, she questions the protagonist about their courage, if they can handle the immense feelings that come with seeking freedom and being what he is. Answering those questions with cowardice will give you the absolute worst ending, not even being able to fight the Kagetsuchi at all. So it's a test as to whether or not Naoki can endure the worst of the worst, dealing with the fact that he may be hated or cursed for all of his life if he wants his world back. This is also backed up when Lucifer in that route tells him the angels will come after him, and that he must not forget the power dwelling within. He also has to live with the possibility that the world could return to the Vortex world again, or make some other type of apocalypse. This is another reason why many actually hate this ending. But I on the other hand think Naoki has the strength to go through all of this, at least in this ending. This is because he ultimately has to kill even his best friends, not to mention deal with almost nothing but betrayal, witnessing the worst of the worst, feeling nothing but pain. And yet somehow, he gets through all of that. To me, Naoki represented the genuine hope for humanity. Everyone else Super Yuko gave up on that, willing to slaughter and kill to make their dreams come true, even against those that beg for their lives or would be harmless. Naoki is doing his best in this route to get through all of that, fighting tooth and nail to get what he wants. The idea of trying to resist Lucifer's temptation really interested me. Plus, my mindset at the time was more supportive of how a character could still turn out to be a good person, to find that kind of hope within someone, at least if they showed a possibility of change that even I could believe. The way I played never presented a chance to indulge in such awful things. Even when represented with a punishment like Hijiri has, I still feel Naoki is strong enough. Hell, the fact that Dante can trust him further helps show that strength of heart, that no matter how far Naoki tumbles down, there's still a heart capable of crying. Really, it's just the fact that he's a silent protagonist that emotional scenes like that don't really exist. Aiding my love of the story is that it kinda relates to a common story between friends, how they drift apart and follow different things, sometimes putting each other at odds. The fights they have are chaotic, unable to be solved by words. So hey, just like an actual fight on the internet. I actually recommend trying to play this game using the names of those close or once close to you as well, just in case you want to understand what I'm talking about. Another reason I love neutrality? It's up to your power in order to solve this issue. And then again, I suppose that goes with every SMT game. God and the angels have made it painfully clear that they will not help you. You get maybe a warning and that's about it. It's another real life scenario that one could relate to. With a world filled with darkness, wanting you to give up, you gotta keep pushing through. There is no ultimate secret weapon to help you. There is no super demon to aid you. Hell, Dante not even giving the player help from day one showed Naoki had to rely on himself. Actually, I take that back. It's not just himself. He has to convince and work with the demons of all types, and find the courage to confront them, even sacrificing his life force to do so in some cases. In a way, this is kind of like a battle with depression, blinded and unsure of what to do until you start putting pieces together. It can take a very long time.
The true demon route took me 90 hours, by the way. No freaking way am I going through that again.
And it can be a frightening experience as well, just like how I am usually so damn nervous when talking to others. But it's by mastering that power that you were able to tackle the toughest of challenges in your way, and that's what helped give me that strength. Really, the whole point of the Shin Megami Tensei series for me were to experience the worst of the worst situations, and then to overcome them, to show that even with the devil tempting you, you can slap that hand away. You will never give up, for despite being a devil, you have the heart of something even better. You are what humanity should strive to be, and that was how I saw the demi-fiend. Persona shows the power of bonds, and when we all come together, we can achieve something greater. But Shin Megami Tensei is capable of showing the true power of the individual, and that even includes Apocalypse as well, showing the strength and struggles of all the heroes that can join you. Those games show we don't need the god of gods, or even a demon lord to summon to help us. We just need to know how to use our own power and learn not to be afraid, or at least be aware of that fear, yet still have the determination to fight back. But now let's cover what really happens, what Atlus is not shying away from, what you all probably want to hear the most, and what Atlus has constantly pushed for. The demi-fiend becoming a true demon via the true demon ending. Shin Megami Tensei Imagine, Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse DLC, and even a secret boss in the first Digital Devil Saga, you fight an antagonistic demi-fiend, one who is content at using demons and slaughtering you. Or in Apocalypse, just get back to fighting Lucifer to join his army to kill God. No matter how you slice it, these were ways off from the neutral ending. I already said I don't like the true demon ending, but it's not because I think it sucks. On the contrary, the game provides the best possible setup for this. I mean, really think about the summary of this game when I put it this way. Naoki wakes up to find himself as a half-demon as he tries to protect his friends, but they constantly push him away, Isamu even chastising him for failing to protect their teacher. He is constantly used by others, and while he's capable of saving some people, it becomes clear that anyone he really cares about just keeps on vanishing. Even his teacher gives him that treatment, and just ends up sacrificed right before his very eyes by the very person who ruined his life. Adding to that are his friends losing their sanity, becoming horrible demons that not even Naoki can talk to. Even the last sane human, who was constantly helping him, loses his sanity, and plans on sacrificing either him or Isamu to form his own reason. And it's funny because at this point, the only friends Naoki has are demons. We have seen demons like the mannequins and more just wanting to live their lives without someone trying to ruin it, and those same beings are slaughtered before his very eyes. He can't form his own reason, his friends are basically dead to him, and any chance of trying to create a new life is gone. Not to mention you have assholes like these fiends trying to claim your life over a damn candle. So you take your anger out on them, hunt them down and beat them to a bloody pulp, at least as much as bone can shed blood, I guess, all so you can get more information about this world. And when even the angels are against you, suddenly you realize there's no good left in this world. If there is, it's just gonna die anyway, and all you can do is just watch. You could definitely fight it, but you can't stop it. The true demon ending is basically losing all the hope. It's giving up as life weighs down onto you, and there is only one other solution: destroy. And what better chance of destroying everything than joining Lucifer himself, turning into a full demon bent on destroying God. For as much as Lucifer uses Naoki, he's probably the only one who actually does care about him, at least in grooming him into being the best demon and aiding him when he earns it. And with no one around to help Naoki, maybe give him a hug or good words, it makes it way easier to believe that Naoki would never get that much needed help, and turn to the dark side. Not to mention, if you don't help Lucifer and just reject everything, including your friends and teacher, it does just lead to a shitty ending of the game, and it just ends right there. So I hope you like sand.
Now there's just one little problem with this story idea, and that's simple. Why the flying hell would Dante go along with any of this?
I realized that this version of the game previously didn't have him, but it also didn't have the true demon ending either. If the intention was to make that ending canon, Dante is perhaps the absolute worst character to choose for this due to how he values the lives of kind-hearted humans and demons alike. The Dante I know wouldn't just let a world get destroyed, even if it was for his family or to see a battle between heaven and hell. Even Reboot Dante would spend the double space for that offer, and I hate defending that version of him. And before you counter that this is Devil May Cry 2 Dante, that version also put his life in danger to save Lucia and tricked the main villain to do so as well. DMC2 is bad and may have the worst version of Dante in the old continuity, but it's still friggin' Dante. Thankfully they fixed this with another version of Nocturne, replacing Dante with Raido Kuzunoa, which, while also a bit hard for me to picture, in the second game, you can technically align yourself with Chaos and Lucifer, so it's a significantly easier choice for me to follow. Actually, due to a translation of things from that version of the game, Raido and his cat, Gato, at least saw everything so they could try and prevent this kind of thing from happening in their world. I am willing to believe they could do this over Dante because they have the same demons and stuff like in Naoki's world, as opposed to Dante where none of this crap seems to be in his world at all. So if you take out Dante out of the equation or replace him with nobody or even the chaotic version of Raido and Gato, then yes, I can completely see the demi-fiend making that plunge. Honestly, I think they should have tried to work with the DMC3 team a bit more to allow Virgil in here instead. Having that morally gray of a person as a potential ally or enemy definitely sounds more interesting than just putting Dante here and joining Lucifer or whatever Naoki chooses. Even Virgil could get some potential development out of it as well, but of course I know why they didn't do it. The game was being remade with that Lucifer option, so they would have to rewrite the plot and do some work to make Virgil fit in naturally. Same goes for Dante. That's the reason those characters didn't quite work out so well. But yeah, that's kind of the mindset of how I understood this ending, and also sadly how I came to this conclusion. So much horrible shit happens in our lives, and we are made to witness it. Current politics alone has me depressed, but with this channel failing, YouTube fucking me over, my family constantly distancing themselves from me, friends fleeing me from whenever I'm depressed, and don't even get me started on the failure that was college, and well, I'm tempted to say fuck it too. Back then I could fight it off, ignore the devil's hand staring at me. Now though, shaking it has become all too tempting, all while I say screw this world. Fuck, I would let Thanos snap his fingers with the Infinity Gauntlet, because quite frankly, I too had enough of this crap.
And yet despite all that talk about depression, I'm still here.
Here's the thing to remember. Just because true demon ending is a thing and most likely canon, it doesn't invalidate my feelings or what I learned from this game. It pulls off its ending well anyway, so I'm not left bitter like say anything in the third birthday. Not to mention the game technically said there were multiple universes, so who's to say that the neutral ending doesn't happen in one of them? Some even wanted Naoki to find and battle the true demon version of himself, and I would be psyched for that. And future installments help balance this more, especially Apocalypse, which showed that yeah, there are humans that are fickle and stupid, but humanity is capable of changing themselves for the better. They are capable of growth. Even some of the worst characters became better people by the end of the game. And honestly, it has the best balance between the darkness SMT provides and the hope and positivity often associated with Persona. It's why Apocalypse became my favorite title in this series, and I can never forget what Nocturne means to me either. Those feelings may have faded a tad, mainly because the game has aged quite a bit, but I still love every minute of it. Yes, that even includes the Amala temples that were awful. I will never forget what you did for me, Naoki, and may you be able to protect your friends properly. And hopefully show up at more games, because seriously, Shin Megami Tensei needs more love.
Next time, though, we go back to the Devil May Cry series with Devil May Cry 4. I'll see you guys next time on The Smartest Moron.
Hello everybody! Do you enjoy The Smartest Moron, but also wish there was a channel like it that talked not just about video games, but also about tabletop games, and a little bit about comics and movies, and had slightly lower production values, and was just generally weirder and less focused? Well, great news! That exists! So why not check out Thrifty Gaming on YouTube? That's THRIFT space the letter E space GAMING. We've got Warhammer 40k, Pathfinder, Ace Attorney, The Third Birthday, webcomics, Warhammer 40k again. And with time, we'll have much more. So yeah, check it out and subscribe if you like it. Thank you and have a great day.